Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and release day has come and gone. Some of us have got all the stuff we ordered, some have got some of it, and some have got none of it, unfortunately. I'm in the boat where I managed to get the main rulebook, but I don't have anything else as yet, so good job for ordering on pre-order day. However, Games Workshop surprisingly have released an article on Warhammer Community which does a full reveal on a brand new core faction, and that is a surprise. I'm surprised they've done it so quickly, so early. I was expecting a bigger gap between factions. Why have they done this? Was this the original plan, or is it sped up because of demand? No one knows. But let's take a look at what the article says, covering the Orc and Goblin tribes. So we've got soon the world of legend will once again ring out with the rumble of hooves, the clamour of Kapesh on shield, and the sultry melodies of skeletons playing the horn. But we're not stopping at just 2 factions. There are 9 in total, receiving a mixture of new, remastered and classic miniatures, and they're all getting a lot. So let's check out the video first. Okay, a pretty good video. Now, while greenskins weren't my favourite faction, I did enjoy the faction, always felt they had a lot of character, and I certainly think you can see that in the miniatures. Mixture of old, new things in that video. The Troll Hag sticking out there, obviously the Black Orcs, plus some new stuff as well. So it's not the elves that I was hoping for, who overall, one of the reasons I was hoping for either one of the elf factions was because they don't really have any models available right now, whereas at least you can do some things with Orcs and Goblins. And the rumours had been dwarfs, so the Orcs and Goblins, the green skin tide, is a surprise. But here you go, you can see a nice big army there. We've got some goblins in there. You can see we've got a bunch of orcs in there. We've got some wolf riders. You've got chariot, possibly a shaman on a boar. You've got a doom diver catapult at the back. Arrow boys in here. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty much everything that you kind of would expect. For me personally, when I was playing Orcs and Goblins, I'm a big fan of Night Goblins, so I used to run a lot of Night Goblins with some Black Orcs in there, and then a bunch of sort of things like Doom Divers and Rock Lobbers. So, but let's check out what the article says. Okay, so Battalion box. So we are getting a Battalion box. So the Orc and Goblin tribes are launching with a massive Battalion box alongside an Arcane Journal, as expected. The former contains 73 plastic miniatures, which is 2 Orc boar chariots, 31 Orc boys, including a champion, a musician and a standard bearer, and 40 goblins with command upgrades on their own. So when you look at that, so the 70 plus miniatures seems to be pretty standard now for these Battalion boxes. Okay. Orc boar chariots, not my particular flavour, but good units. Still, nonetheless, chariots, pretty good unit on the battlefield overall. Though I haven't actually seen their rules yet. 31 Orc boys, it's just an odd number again, but is what it is. But the 40 goblins, nice. 2 units of 20, for example, as a starter. You know, I'm thinking about this for people that, you know, if you're buying this Battalion box, probably because you're starting into your orcs. So, you know, 20 goblin archers, 20 goblin spears is a good place to start. It's just the 31 orcs just seems rather odd, but is what it is. So each of these plastic kits has options aplenty, different heads, shield patterns, while the orcs can have hand weapons or spears to go with the shields, which is nice to have variety in there, and the goblins can be armed with short bows or spears and shields. So yeah, it's always good to have those options, and it's a full options in the kit. So, you know, we've seen with some of these starter boxes, if you will, or battalion boxes with some other game systems. You know, it's push fit miniatures. No, these are the same ones that you will buy individually with all the options, and that is excellent. And to be honest, with this box, if you were going down the route, you know, 2 boxes of this would be a pretty good starter. Maybe a touch too many chariots, for example, but you know, 80 goblins and you know, 60 orcs. You know, it's probably good value. I would expect there to be some level of saving by buying this box, right? So there's probably some good value in there. Okay. It's important to note that Orcs and Goblin Tribes Battalion contained just miniatures, no rulebooks, dice, reference sheets, or other accessories found in previous boxes. So you'll find the roster for your Budding War in the Ravening Horse book. So again, that's good. What we don't want is just a repeat of the Tomb Kings and Bretonia battalion boxes, because they're great as a starter. They're giving you the book and all the bits, but you only need that once. So this will help keep the cost of these battalions down and essentially become the same as with other game systems in 40k and Age of Sigmar, where you have these essentially faction starter boxes, but they're not cluttered up with rules and dice and everything else, which just pushes the price up. So very, very happy about that. So Arcane Journal, we know about these, what they are, from Bretonia and Tomb Kings. But yeah, the lore maps and iconography, 2 new special characters, okay. And then we've got 2 armies of infamy, the Nomadic War, okay. Does that mean it's a very cavalry-based war, maybe, you know? If you kind of think something, yeah, so that maybe that's a more cavalry-based one. And then you've got the Troll Horde here, with all the different flavours of trolls and things. That could be interesting. Again, not really my flavour of army, so actually I think the basic one's going to work out for me. And a green fistful of extra rules to use in your armies, include magic items, spells, and units like the Troll Hag. Ooh, interesting. So there's now some special units in an Arcane Journal. Now, I don't have the Tomb Kings or Bretonians, but I don't remember there being any types of unit rules in the Arcane Journal. So is that a new thing? Like special characters we knew about and magic items things, but I don't remember there being unit rules in the Arcane Journal. Please correct me if I am wrong. I don't have it, so I can't check, but that starts to become less ideal if you start having units outside, because you'd want all your units to be in the Ravening Hordes book, right? So, okay. Though the Troll Hag is a pretty unique unit, verging on a special character, but isn't listed as such. Interesting. Okay, on top of that, there'll be a deck of cards and dice for Budding War bosses. Okay, yeah, no problem there. Right, new miniatures, brand new miniatures. So there are 2 fabulous new models for the Orc and Goblin Tribes, a fearsome black orc warboss brandishing a great weapon, and a deeply weird orc shaman, Ogdra's Swamp Digger, a new named character found in the Arcane Journal. Okay, both are Forge World Resin. Well, this to me just smacks of Grimgore Ironhide, right? It just looks like Grimgore to me. I look at him and go, yeah, Grimgore. I don't care, Grimgore's cool anyway, but Black Orcs, definitely my thing. So really nice looking miniature. I like this. I really like this. Tactical Rock, not so much. So, you know, I'd probably look at shaving it down. While I don't mind my characters being a little bigger when they're ranked up, sticking out obscenely tall above, I'd have to see how high that actually is. But initially, I'd be thinking of maybe dropping it down a little bit, keeping the pose. But if you just cut it across, like flat across here, you just bring it down a few millimeters to make it not look so sticking out in the unit. But overall, very cool. Really like the look of this miniature. Excellent. Yeah, Black Orcs, cool. In terms of the Orc Shaman, Orc Shaman's not something that I've run in the past or intend to run in the future. I think the model looks interesting overall. You kind of got some sort of claw here. I don't know where that's come from, but it's done in sort of a crabby colour, lobster colour. You've got some sort of troll head on top, which is quite interesting. yeah, I mean, it's a reasonable looking miniature, not something for me personally. You know, I'll be going down the path of Night Goblin Shamans, and if I was going down the path of Orc Shamans, I'd be on the Savage Orcs. But overall, yep, pretty good. But yeah, I really like the Black Orc War Boss. Really like him, he's cool. Right, returning plastics, what have we got? There are plenty of returning plastic kits in the most recent era of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and they're all exactly as you remember them, but in the main, they'll be sold in larger numbers per box than before. Hopefully with not, you know, that in theory, if we look at something like the Tomb Guard, you know, without going into the full argument around pricing, Games Workshop is expensive, we know that, but with the Tomb Guard, it, you know, went from 10 to 20, but the price didn't double. So in theory, there's a little bit of a saving in there. Hopefully we'll see that with some of these. So what have we got here? So you've got Orc Big Boss with a Battle Standard Bearer on there. Another sort of, that looks like probably a Big Boss. What have we got? Here we go. There's your Orc Boys. Excellent. That's one of the big things that's missing right now. So seeing that come back, you know, it's really going to help people get their armies up and running. Orc Biggins, okay, and Orc Arrow Boys in here as well. Okay. We've got Orc Boar Boys. Again, yeah, another key one that was missing. We've got the Chariots, so yeah, we saw those obviously in the Battalion box. We've got Black Orcs, yeah, fantastic, good, these are coming back. I know some people have said looking at using the Ard Boys, but from Age of Sigmar, which won a bigger, but if you look at these Black Orcs, I just don't think the Age of Sigmar Ard Boys fit the aesthetic. I just think it's just very, very different, right? So I would definitely be wanting to pick up a few of these guys. Yeah, Black Orcs, and they look great. They look great. And there we go. So that's all the plastic ones they've got in that carousel. So these are Orc Bosses, Orc Boys, Orc Arrow Boys, Boar Boys, Boar Chariots, Black Orc Boys, and then down below, oh, we got plus the Goblin Mob, the Night Goblin Mob, and the Goblin Wolf Rider mob coming later. Okay, so it looks like it's very much focused on Orcs to start, with Goblins to follow. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's a shame because I like my Goblins, but okay. Right, returning Resin. Okay, these were some Forge World kits. So we've got another, essentially, Black Orc boss here. Battle Standard Bearer is absolutely excellent. You can see the dwarf on it here, so that's a really nice looking miniature too if you want that. This is definitely more for me. Love the Night Goblin Battle Standard Bearer, and then you've got the Goblin War Boss here on the Giant Cave Squig. So yeah, very cool miniatures. In fact, these two I definitely want to be picking up for my Night Goblins, and that's actually really nice as well. So yeah, the Night Goblin stuff really cool. I mean the Orc stuff really cool too. Though I have to say I really do like that new Orc War Boss. Okay, so what else we got? These Orc and Goblin command sets will also be joined by the Troll Hag, very cool, and the Bone Grinder Giant. So we've got the Bone Grinder Giant coming back, okay. And then certain other miniatures have been remastered and are changing medium from metal to Forge World resin. The Orc War Boss and Wyvern and the Orc and Goblin Giant. That's probably a good thing. Owning metal dragons myself, like Nestor and Arahan, Wood Elf, and on the Forest Dragon, metal dragons, it's a lot of work. Putting these things together, pinning them so they stay together. Actually, I would prefer them in Forge World resin. I would, probably still look at pinning parts, but actually, I think the resin's a better option. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And the having an Orc War Boss on Wyvern, actually pretty cool. The Troll Hag there is cool, and the Goblin Giant there, that's a big miniature, right? So having the having an Orc and Goblin Giant again in resin is definitely preferred. But there are returning metals as well. So we've got the Rock Lobber here is in metal. So we've got Goblin Shamans. I already have this one here. I actually have this one here as well. Nasty Skulkers are coming back in metal as well. Interesting. And then the above will be joined by the following other miniature packs. So what else have we got? Goblin Bosses, Goblin Wolf Rider Bosses, cool. Goblin Bolt Thrower, Doom Diver Catapult, that's like a must-have in my list. Wolf Chariots, also very cool. Orc Shamans, Orc Biggins, okay, so there's the Biggins in there. Snotling Pump Wagon, Common Trolls, and then Classic Ogres. Now that's interesting. Some people love the Classic Ogres. For me, if I wanted ogres, which I don't take in my Orc and Goblins list, but if I wanted ogres, I think the Classic Ogres look a little goofy. There's like a whole faction that's made up of ogres these days. I'd be looking to them than the goofy ones, but you know, it's a personal choice, right? So, but Classic Ogres coming back, bit of a surprise there. Right, and then made to order. On top of all that, there'll be a hand-curated selection of made-to-order orcs and trolls for the true connoisseurs, including none other than the fabled Marauder Giant. Oh my god, so they're bringing back all the giants? That's interesting. Who, like all the others in this tranche, is returning in metal. You know, my understanding, if I remember correctly, the Marauder Giant, you know, fetches a reasonable price on third-party sites, second hand, and you know, he's obviously going to be much cheaper now buying direct from GW and made to order. Who'd ever thought you'd say that? But yeah, he will be cheaper than the way you get him right now. Alongside him, there's the Orc Shaman on War Wyvern from 1993. My God, I literally started playing Warhammer Fantasy, you know, sort of 92, 93 era. So this is very much when I first started. 2 sets of classic stone trolls, which are cool. The classic river trolls, and a Black Orc big boss with axe and shield. So pretty cool. This is look, Orcs and Goblins always had a very, very big roster, but I mean, there's a lot here when you consider what's already still currently available. All the Savage Orc stuff, the Night Goblin stuff. So there's stuff that you can buy right now today, and I've got a video that covers that. But there's a lot coming for the Orcs. A lot coming. So it's been a real treat coming up with the major order plan for Warhammer the Old World. We've been poring over old catalogues, digging out product codes, poking around dusty old rooms, finding master castings, greens and such like that have been long buried. Okay, and we saw that with the Bretonian lore, didn't we? So many of these products have been archived. Okay. Metal products are actually something that we still make, but they're limited in number compared to early 2000s. Okay, brand new molds. They're just talking about the work, and they're not wrong, right? They're absolutely not wrong. You know, we're all sat here as consumers, wanting to consume absolutely everything that comes out, and we want it now. And while I do take issue with the things around the pre-ordering and the lack of stocking and how quickly things run out in terms of getting these older kits back to be saleable, there is quite a lot of work, and that's something that we should remember. So, yeah, I mean, they should. The stocking right now is not the best, but this stuff, there's a lot of work, molds, and bringing them back to a mass production item. Okay, it's enough to start a proper war and have those puny tin can umis and fancy skellies quaking in their boots. Okay, we'll have more information on when this Emerald Avalanche hits pre-order in the future. Okay. And then they clarify more stock is on the way for Bretonia and Khemri, except for the stuff. It's not arriving in a single wave. Okay, so yeah, we know we're not getting all of this in one go. That makes sense. There's a huge amount there. There's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if there's 2 to 3 waves of this stuff, plus your made to order on top of that. So a lot here. A lot still currently available. Like I say, greenskins, definitely a surprise for me. I was expecting dwarves from some of the leaks that have been around, or expecting some pointy-eared elves because of the lack of availability of any miniatures at all. So the orcs is a surprise. But overall, I think that's been an excellent article. I think there's been a vast amount of information here, a vast amount revealed. Clearly quite ahead of time, so there's, I don't know when we're going to see this stuff released, but clearly there's still a few weeks to go at the very least, if not months, before this comes out. But great that they've done it. Really pleased with that. So hats off for this article. That the level of detail that it went into to show everything that they are bringing back, and that's great because people have now got their hands on these army lists. They're going to want miniatures on that army list, and it allows people to plan and go, oh my god, the troll hag's coming back, or this unit's coming back, or that unit's coming back. Okay, maybe I'll just wait if I don't want to go to a third party, and there are lots of third party retailers available for orcs and goblin stuff. You have now the choice because you kind of know when things are coming, and you know the orcs is going to be next. So if you're an orc player, you're in a great place. So there we go. That's the end of the article today. So I do have my main rulebook. So content coming out after this will be focused in and around the main rulebook. I don't have any of the other books right now. So that will be an issue until I get those. But the first part of the content for the content schedule was going to be delving deep into the main rulebook first. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. It's free for you to do. It means a huge amount for me, so thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Owl. I'll see you all very soon.